Fortnite has added and taken away some things that have made the community ooh and ah and get absolutely triggered and everything in between. But today we'll be talking about those times where Fortnite have done something and we weren't too happy about it, or at least you guys weren't. Here are the top 10 most hated things in Fortnite. But before we get into it, use code T5G in the item shop when purchasing any new cosmetics for a perfect land in your next ranked match. 100% working, no scam. Shout out your grandma. Be sure to join the Discord linked in the description to become a part of the top 5 gaming community and make some friends or memes. Number 10, the pump being removed. It's day 16 since the infamous pump shotguns have been removed. Whether this was your most beloved weapon in Fortnite or even your worst, you can't help but admit that the pump is one of Fortnite's most signature guns. Since the early days of scrape shots hitting 6, 7, 8, and 9 damage, the pump and tack shotguns became a part of meme history. There's also the huge fact that a lot of gamers love to find that one perfect weapon in nearly any game that can do clean one-shot kills. In some games, you'll be lucky enough to get shotguns that will be one hit even to the body, but in games like Fortnite, where headshots are king, the pump dominated. It wasn't always this way, though, and did go through some damage nerfs and later on buffs. Once we did get that extra buff, though, the 200 plus damage headshots were just all too satisfying. It took a good 6 to 7 seasons before Fortnite seemed to get a comfortable setup for shotguns, and for the past couple, we've been able to get the hang of them ourselves, learning to sneak in those killer headshots in some intense battle. It's these kind of accurate one-shot kill weapons that can completely change the course and the tide of a battle between someone with 200 HP and someone with 1. To see it be removed with Season 9 has left most of the community a little bit unsettled. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Fortnite did say that most fights were ending in a pump shotgun elimination, and they still pretty much are, or just SMG barrel stuff spam, which is even more annoying. But the second place weapon wasn't even close. So to mix things up a bit, they just straight up removed the pump and put in something similar looking, but a lot weaker. I mean, you'd be lucky to hit 140 on a headshot with the combat shotgun. Although it does have some incredible range to it, I'm sure if we had an unvaulting event right now that there would be even more people voting for this than they did for the drum gun. It would be a massive turnout. Number 9, the Infinity Blade when it was first introduced. Polar Peaks is currently crumbling, breaking apart, and going to once again reveal even more treasures within. Hopefully. You can already see the Horde of Polar Peak event happening right now streams on YouTube that have been going on for days since it first cracked. Although not all of its treasures turned out to be so great. In early December of last year, just after Season 7 had begun with the new ice biome, the first layers of snow and ice melted away from Polar Peaks, revealing the Infinity Blade, a powerful sword that was stuck in the stone at the courtyard like it was straight out of a King Arthur story. If you happen to be a good flyer, then this was perfect for you. Whoever managed to land first and pull it out of the stone before being pickaxed to death by everyone else landing late essentially became a god on the Battle Royale island. You'd get double the health and shield, and you'd have a high damaging lunge and combo attacks, while your health would also regenerate 1 tick every second. You get 50 shield for every elimination. Countering a player who wielded this beast of a sword was near on impossible, even for a lot of pro players. It made endgame battles a complete mess, and even the players that would use the Infinity Blade found it to be a bit too cheap, too easy to dominate with, and took a lot of skill and fun factors away from using it. Fortnite's Infinity Blade was their attempt to introduce mythic weapons that mix up the gameplay. However, it seemed more like they set off a remote-controlled nuke flying around the map. A good idea, just not the best execution. Number 8 is Siphon removed and mats being dropped in pubs. Siphon was introduced for a short time at the beginning of the year in February with the 7.4 update. After it had received a ton of praise in some previous pop-up matches, upon eliminating an enemy, you get a free 50 of each material automatically put straight into your inventory and an added 50 health or shield depending on what you needed. During its time in the core game modes, the general vibe we saw was a good one. People seemed to enjoy the Siphon mechanic. You can easily see why. Free health and mats, you now had a fairly decent reason for thirsting people, one that could actually change the entire outcome for the remaining battle or incoming third party. So why was it removed with the 8.2 update? Well, apparently this mechanic only made the game better for that top skill bracket, which you can kind of understand when you imagine one pro player being able to easily wipe out an average squad as he just pushes each one at a time and heals on the move. In fact, it actually made the average players, which is the majority, feel as though the game was becoming impossible. Sweats were becoming even more sweaty, and Fortnite had to find some sort of balance. For the meantime, the core game modes are back to normal, but for those competitive players, Siphon is available in the area. Number 7 is game-impacting bugs and glitches. For example, the baller glitch causing you to be thrown across the map to death, or the cannon glitch shooting you the wrong direction, or the shadow bomb glitch giving players... There is a lot of Epic, we gotta have a talk. Epic Games, what's going on? Something I'm not sure we'll ever be able to escape is the continuous stream of glitches that come with Fortnite's already steady flow of updates. Epic Games are trying to revolutionize Fortnite at nearly every turn, attempting to give it a new and innovative feel almost every other week, which to be fair, they've done a brilliant job of doing, but like I just came back from last week and we've got drones flying around. I don't even know what's going on. But some of the bugs we've seen along the way, I'm sure will have annoyed every player at some point or another. We've seen the ballers become one of the clouds in multiple game-breaking glitches. When the cannons were introduced, who would have thought a glitch could shoot you in a complete wrong direction and off the map with nothing you're able to do but accept your fate and pray it doesn't happen again. We've had the events throughout the Fortnite storyline that have had their own issues as well. The vault at Loot Lake could be accidentally driven into, with ballers leaving you once again to fall to your death. There's a lot of community who didn't even get to see the event due to it bugging out.
Does this look like where I could order at? The shit down there bugging out. Yeah.
And it wasn't just a few people, it was a good portion of the community. I'm sure there's many of you watching that this probably happened to as well. And in at number 6, we've got turbo building. This machine gun building mechanic was introduced in the early seasons, so there's probably a lot of players that don't know what the game was like without turbo building. At the moment, you can just hold down, say, your wall building button, and as long as you have material, it'll keep placing walls no matter how many times it gets shot down and protects you from bullets on the other side. Although if you do have a bad connection, then there'll be longer gaps between each turbo build, allowing more bullets to go through. However, if you have a great connection and your ping is sitting at a good 5 to 10, you can pretty much turtle up for as long as you have material without too much effort, and this is where the problem lies for some of the community. Before turbo building, you would have to place every build individually. You couldn't just spin in circles and place material everywhere. You actually had to think about your placements a lot more, and those people feel that this is where the true skill was in building. Although this may be similar to the Siphon situation, a lot of the average players would miss out massively without that turbo feature. But what would you pick? Old school building or turbo build? Let me know in the comments. Number 5 is the tier 100 skins not living up to their potential. Don't get me wrong, the tier 100 skins are pretty nice, but there's a lot of people that feel that they could be doing a lot better. It's not an unreasonable claim either when you actually take a look back at their previous work. I mean, we had Omega with body-changing armor and neon lights. Ragnarok with his godlike Viking armor. I think one of the best core concepts behind a tier 100 skin was the transformation stages on Dire. But the fact is we had all these vastly different transformative like tier 100 skins, armor, monster transformations, and now we're getting tier 100s like Lux and Vendetta that just look like normal skins. Sure, Vendetta does get some fairly decent armor, but when you especially take a look at Lux with just their color changing outfits, you know for a fact Fortnite could be doing it a lot better. They could have taken the monster-like transformation process like they did with Dire and the ninja skins and added that to so many tier 100s. I just think that to go from those early on incredible tier 100 skins, in Season 9 there doesn't seem to be any improvement. It's more that they've gotten lazy or run out of ideas. Number 4 is the baller in combat. Oh my goodness gracious. The baller, it's a fairly controversial subject in the community at the moment. I mean, you've got people like me that enjoy swinging around the map, and you've got the pro players that don't like how it has affected the end game. Oh my god, has it affected late game? Camping in a ball of just, god, it's so cheesy. At first, the baller had a ton of health, and late game circles ended up looking like a bucket full of ping pong balls bouncing around for people not in one. It would be near impossible to build or defend yourself with 15 ballers all smashing through your builds. Fortnite have released multiple patches to try and balance this vehicle out, but there's still a good amount of pro players that don't think it should be in competitive at all. I'm not even a pro player, and I don't think that it should be in competitive. Most have no problem with public matches and ballers, although you do get the odd few, but most feel it would be good to remove it for just competitive tournaments. There's a lot of chaos and lucky-based combat for survival, but when you think about Fortnite, it's pretty much chaos and a slot machine RNG at its core anyway, with the crazy and random items and weapons they come out with. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you think we should let them battle it out in the chaos, or let them focus on their skill and remove the baller in competitions? Let us know. I personally, I don't know. There needs to be some kind of resolve there. That's for sure. Number 3 is the Jetpack. May 2018, Fortnite decided to add the Jetpack, and 99 times out of 100, I would think that jetpacks are always a good idea. I mean, who doesn't want to fly a jetpack, right? But it doesn't take long for the Fortnite community to jump on the hate train for this item. This Battle Royale game stood out for its building mechanics, and the Jetpack took most of that feature away. I mean, you'd start a build battle, and all you'd hear is And then suddenly you've got Rocket Man in your face or above you. You spend most of your time being forced to turtle up and take sneak peeks when you can. Oh my god, what's going on? Oh my god, there's a plane above AC-130. Okay, maybe not that. The player using the jetpack rarely ever builds unless stealing the top of your build or just giving himself a shield wall when he has to land and recharge. Given that jetpacks were taking away a lot of the core gameplay, and on top of that had some really annoying glitches and sound bugs, Fortnite vaulted them, and they've been seen since, but only really in limited time modes. And in at number 2, we've got hackers and cheaters. Like glitches and bugs, hackers and cheaters are something that will be hard to avoid in any popular game. Gaming companies will work to get a lot of hackers and cheaters banned, but when there's constantly new glitches coming out, there'll be cheaters abusing them, and when there's constantly people creating new updated working hacks, there'll be people to use them. Usually it's a lot of younger gamers that don't know better or just little twerps growing up, but more recently with bigger and bigger prize pools showing up for competitions, people have been attempting to cheat and hack with these tournaments and matches as well. I mean, do you have no pride, or just like, did you really think you were going to be able to get away with that? I mean, I joke, but it's really bad to think that even though many have been caught, there's still plenty of legit players who would have had spots in competitions but just missed the cut because of hackers and cheaters. I swear to God, if I see any of you guys in the comments that are just like, just build, you're getting the boy. Number 1, planes. I'm starting to see a pattern with certain items and vehicles in Fortnite, and that's that when you get one that gives you the ability to fly, like jetpacks, it doesn't go down well. I mean, just like the Infinity Blade, we got the planes with the start of Season 7. At first, everyone was looking forward to this new vehicle, and for a short time, it was all fun and games, as it always is. Then the strategist got to work, and everyone began to realize just how irritating these planes could be. Oh, just having a build battle with another player, that plane will come in either A, slam through your build and kill you both, or B, eject and steal the high ground and attempt to kill you both. So maybe you're playing safe, trying to get the circles and checking your 6 constantly, playing extra sneaky. Doesn't matter when there's a predator flying around through the skies, pinpointing your location with his 5 billion pixel monitor, nose diving straight into you. Oh my god, there really is an AC-130 above now. Even camping became worse. Planes had no patrol gauge originally, so you could just fly around the skies camping in the air. The planes were definitely one of the most hated items in Fortnite, and I was surprised they even had it in the unvaulting event as a possible candidate. They could have a dogfight LTM with the planes, though. That would be pretty cool. But this has been the top 10 most hated things in Fortnite. Be sure to use code T5G and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.